He is moving. Yes. Just then you sliding. Okay, slowly. Watch there. Okay, now you will have to. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What the okay. This was definitely the hardest cut that I've done so far. Not because the cut itself was complicated or anything like that, but this position up on the ladder and cutting sideways, not even seeing a good line all around. It took me a really long time, and yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot more of cuts like this from now on onto the roof. It's looking pretty good. I didn't cut too deep, or I didn't miss anything, but it just took me way longer than it would normally took. And without the lift, I cannot put it down like I was doing before to cut out the notches and then back up. Now I have to do everything right here on top of the walls. I think this is very dangerous. There are no mistakes. I would really not like to fall down from here. I can't wait to have this log done, and so I can roll the other logs on, and even then it's gonna be a bit easier. This is one of the hardest. It's in the middle and you have almost nowhere to stand. Once I have the other logs on, I will put just the temporary boards so I'll be able to work easier. Otherwise it's really a suicide working up here. Go. Oh yes. You. It's pretty easy. How much is over there?
40 centimeters.
This log is like this, so it depends on which side is turned.
So now, I think if you can go a bit further,
Me?
it would be better. Okay.
Let's go. Ok, adesso così avanti e indietro.
It's not as good.
Almeno qua il tronco è liscio. I have all the floor joists now up on the top of the walls, but I still need to put them in level and rotate all the flat sides facing up. The only little problem, or the only thing I have to be careful is that this side of the wall is 5 centimeters lower than the other side, so I have to cut the first log as little as possible, and that way when I come to the other side I'll have to cut those 5 centimeters more. And if I start by cutting this first log already too much, then when I add those 5 centimeters I will be left just with a really thin piece here, and that would really compromise the strength of the second floor. Even if I have the third log going the other direction than these logs, and it's below and it gives extra strength, I still want to start by cutting really as little as possible this first log, and then coming up maybe around half with the last log. And the other thing that is also quite challenging is when you have all the logs that are different shapes and sizes, to put them in level with the top flat side is it's pretty tricky. So I will start with the first log, then I will look with the water level with the tube in the water, and I will put the last log in the same level as the first one. And I think after that, if I just have a rope going from the first to the last log, I will be able to see pretty clearly how to put the rest of the logs in a level with this first and the last log. But what did you say? Throw it down here. Just hold the end.
Yep.
Still low. Bro, is it? Can you shake a bit there?
Move my finger. Okay.
It is?
Yep.
Yeah, also here is between 6.5 and 7.
Perfect. They loving it today.
Also yesterday there are so many. Today we are putting the last log of floor joist in place, and I expected this to be a more complicated work, but it actually went pretty smoothly, except for walking on these logs and just always being really careful to stay in balance and not fall down. But other than that, it went without any bigger problems. There was just one small mistake I did, because at the beginning I first put in place the first floor joist and the one on the other side, so that way I extended the rope and I saw exactly how I have to do the rest of the floor joists. But the problem was that when I did this first one, I forgot to measure how high was the log that was the smallest, and actually this first one was the biggest, and then a few other logs are now too low, and I'll have to put a little piece of wood, a centimeter or so, under a few logs. Also, the top of the walls came out almost perfectly level. There was just that corner that was 5 centimeters higher than the rest of the 3 corners, which was pretty much incredible. I almost couldn't believe it, because I didn't measure much how high was one corner compared to the others pretty much throughout the whole build. So to come up and have the walls this perfectly in level was almost unexpected. I was hoping for, because otherwise there would be a big problem to have the floor joists in level. But those 5 centimeters threw me off when I was doing the first log, because I wanted to keep the first log as high as possible, so that when I would come to the other side, I wouldn't need to cut too deep the last logs, and that way I would weaken them. But by doing that, as I said before, I left this first log too high, and now 2 or 3 logs on the thin end are just a bit too low, and I have to put something under to get them in a level. I can't wait to have also the last log of the floor joist in place, and then put some temporary boards on and finally be able to walk a bit safer. Because now maybe it looks from the video that is a bit dangerous, but in reality here every step it's quite scary, and it's the type of fear that I like, because as I said also before, it really pushes me to be in focus and in that moment. And in the last 2 days I had also a lot of other things in my head, and that quickly resulted in me forgetting a few things and doing a few little mistakes. Yeah, luckily nothing too big.
Meister.
Touching even now, here. Then when we lift it, it will touch even less.
How to treat a perfect level. Are you going to see?
Another one. It looks absolutely amazing now that the floor joists are done. Also from the inside of the cabin, it's something so powerful seeing all these big logs together, and also there's not a single nail or screw inside any of the structure of the house, in the walls, in the floor joists or anything. I'll probably have to use a few bolts for the roof. It would be possible to do it without. The only problem here that in the winter we usually get really strong winds, and I would not like to risk it or sleep inside and never be really sure what could happen. I will rather use a few bolts and try to avoid any disaster. But really, how it's coming together for now, it's just incredible. I cannot even believe how amazing it looks like. Also now it's exactly 1 year since I started cutting down the logs, and I give myself another year until next summer. I would like that the cabin is done. I hope I'll be able to start spending some nights here even before that, but by next summer or maximum the end of next summer, I want the cabin to be done and in a state that I can live here. Right now I have another few works, and then probably in 2 weeks, maybe 3, I really hope to have everything done and be able to start working on the roof. I'm really looking forward to it, even if it's going to be the hardest phase of this build, but that's exactly why I'm looking so much forward to it. And the weather that we're having these days is something I could only dream of. It's going to be like this for at least another 4-5 days. Then probably a lot colder weather will come, maybe even some snow. But I'm more than happy that I was able to finish the floor joists, and I think I'll also have the rest of the bigger works done before the bad weather comes. Then I'll think a bit about how to do the roof, how I will raise up the beams and all the big triangles. From the floor joist to the top of the roof will be another 4 meters, and I'm really looking forward to what solution or how I'll be able to do this. Even until this point, before I started, I thought this would be impossible to do it. I had no idea if I'd be able to do it, but really all it takes is you have to start, and then the rest just falls in place perfectly. You have to believe, and you have to have faith and confidence that you can do it, and then the rest really just comes together by itself. Of course, you have to work really hard. I've been working very hard in the last months, in the last year. A lot of times to my limit and even over my limit, just pushing it all day. But then when you look back, it's all more than worth it. And yeah, the most important thing is to believe, to believe that you can do it. Working on these final 2 logs was so scary. I can't even explain it. I think I'm around 4 meters, if not even more than 4 meters off the ground, and cutting with a chainsaw and walking on these thin logs was, yeah, I'm pretty sure was the scariest thing I've done so far. But luckily these 2 are the last 2 fully scribed logs that I'll be putting on. At the beginning I thought that I will not even do these 2 logs, but then as I saw where the level of the boards will be for the 2nd floor, I would be left here with a pretty big gap, and I would have to close it another way. And I thought the best way is to put another log up on the wall, and I'm pretty sure these 2 are the last fully scribed logs. Then I'm still thinking if I will put another log at the end of the balcony, and I'm more and more convinced that it would be the best if I put another log there at the end. That way I think I'll have more strength for the triangle of the roof that will come there, because the other 3 triangles that will come, one here at the wall, one in the middle, and one at the end of the wall, already have these wall logs that are pretty strong. And I will also reinforce here with another post and in the middle, but there at the balcony I don't want to put a log in the middle because it would block the view. I'm not sure, maybe I will do it, but I would like not to. And luckily I'll not have to lift them up like I had to do until now with the rest of the wall logs. I'll just rotate this log and it should fall right in place. And before starting with the roof, I would like to cut out the door so I will have easier access in and out of the log cabin. And maybe I will also do the support post at the end of the balcony. I think with all of the weight of the roof, without the support, it could probably, it would not break, but it could bend down a bit, and I would not like that to happen. I'm so happy that I was able to finish this today. This week was really into my favor. I was able to do a lot of progress. I finished all the floor joists for the 2nd floor. Plus I done these 2 last wall logs, and I'm just very happy to close this chapter and to move on to the roof. And I'm also extremely thankful that I was able to do all of this without getting injured or that something happened, because walking on these logs and everything I've done so far, I know, I'm aware of it, that I've been risking a lot and sooner or later, when you do 100,000 times up and down on the logs, even if you're really careful, something happens, and I can't say enough how grateful I am that I made it until here without any serious injury, and how beautiful it is here these days around in the forest is something I cannot even put into words. I spent also quite some time in this week walking around and also filming for my other channel, because it truly was just amazing. I don't remember the last time we had such a long period of nice weather in autumn without wind, fog or anything like that. And the colors of trees and leaves and everything. Also now, this golden light. I pretty much live for these moments. And also I wake up and go many times up to the mountain to see the sunrise. It's really two of my favorite times of the day, when the sun goes down and when it comes up. It's just something really special for me.